Welcome to the Daily HiFi Podcast. We do this every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. My name is Chana. With me today, we've got Mr. Joe and Tell and special guest from the brand new CalebRated YouTube channel, Caleb Denison. What's up, everybody?
Yeah.
Woo-woo.
Hey, fellas, how's it going?
What's going on? Good to have you on.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, before we get too far with any of this, I want to make sure I say thank you, like heartfelt thank you for having me on as a guest on the channel. I am stoked to be here. I wanted to do this for a long time, honestly. So it's really great to be able to do it. But also, thank you for giving me a moment on your platform to like talk about my own personal thing. I think that's really gracious of you guys. And let's be honest, man, I think we share an enthusiast audience out there, and my experience has been, these collaborations, it's like a rising tide that lifts all ships. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to do it, and I appreciate y'all having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't know how to follow up with that. That was so clean and professional.
I
think I've told you that before. When you were part of the AV Summit, we had you on. You remember that? That was a while back.
That was a while back.
To you and saying, "Man, you're on point all the time." Dude, for me, I have to get ready and like try to say something a million times. You just go for it. According to what Chana said, he's like, "You're just like you're a beast. When the camera's on, you just oh
my gosh." Dude, the first time I saw Caleb in action, like filming, was at that Sony thing in New York years ago.
It was a Sony event in New York, yeah.
And like they were putting out their very first Master Series TV. I met you, I met Vincent, I met Shane for the first time. Cedric from Artings. I don't even know if he's still there. But like to watch you just like they had the press conference, and then all of a sudden, you're standing there and you're just like done. I was like, well, you're like fucking Jay-Z. It's like a one-take wonder. This guy, like, what's happening? It's amazing. Oh,
yo, you know what's funny, man, is that ever since that moment, I did that. Like, first of all, let me be perfectly honest. It's very rare that I actually one-take wonder stuff quite like I did in that moment. But then you came and you said that really nice stuff to me, and you kind of called attention to that. And that has been in my head. I am not lying. That has been in my head every CES, every CEDIA, every live event I've ever had to record at. Like, that has been in my head, and that has become the yardstick that I try to measure up to. Like, can I knock this out in one take without having to reshoot anything? It's hard, dude. It's really hard. But like, when I first got started with all of this, I approached it from a very like TV news perspective, because my videographer and producer at the time came from TV news. He was a TV news producer, and he taught me a ton about like how to get out in the field, gather the information, remember the information, and then run through it really fast. And so that's kind of where it came from. And I'll be honest with you, it's a muscle, right? If you don't work it out, you lose it, and then you have to build it back up. And so, yeah, I can't always be like that. But man, I guess I wanted to tell that whole story because it's part of what's led me to where I'm at now. And I will always track it back to that moment that we met each other at that Sony event, man. I remember that just like you do.
Yeah. It was like it was
yesterday. So are you able to do it now that the pressure's on, like Chana? Yeah, it's kind of like when somebody compliments you on a new shirt, like, hey, I like that shirt. Like, I can't wear the shirt anymore because he's gonna remember.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that I think I do okay these days. Once you've been doing it for a while, and it's hard, right? Because it reminds you of your age. Whenever you look back and you count the number of years that you've been involved in something or doing something, it's like, wow, I remember when I was just a little young thing, and now I'm not anymore. But yeah, I feel I get energized, right? Like when we go to CES and we're under the spotlight and we have to be on. That kind of stuff just motivates me. I love it. I enjoy it a whole bunch. I think it's really great for when appearing on podcasts like these. Like, you know, I wanted to have fun. I want to be engaging, but also I need to be myself, right? Like I'm not trying to be somebody else. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a good thing to have in the back pocket, and hopefully I'll always have that. I don't know. We'll see.
I think so. I think you'll always have it.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
So yeah, you got some new stuff going on. Let's just jump right into it, right? What's going on? I know what's going on.
Well, I mean, yeah. So a lot of, you know, most folks I think are familiar with me associated with, you know, my former employer. And I just, after, you know, I spent a solid 14 some odd years with them, and you know, really appreciate the opportunities that they afforded me. And yeah, I mean, it was fun to kind of try and push and jump in and push for video back when like people really didn't, you know, trust that video was the next big thing, especially in journalism, right? And so yeah, I really appreciate the opportunities I was given, but you know, lately I've just been feeling like I really wanted to go out on my own and run my own business. You know, I'm getting to a certain age in life and a certain progression in my career, and I just felt ready to go out there and do things my way, right? Like according to my personal code of things and whatnot. And so yeah, after a lot of thought and processing, I decided to resign, you know, from my previous job and launch a new channel. And that new channel is called CalebRated. You know, it's kind of a play on, you know, Caleb rated this thing, Caleb's rating things, but also a little bit of a play on calibration, which is a big, you know, an important part of the objective side of rating televisions in particular, and but also audio systems, you know. And yeah, it's really exciting. You know, I launched the channel on Monday morning of this week, and things are going pretty well so far. But you know, it's a big move. Anytime you've been in one place for like 14 years and you decide to move, like that's a tough move to make, you know. And so yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm out here encouraging anybody who is familiar with the work that I do and wants to see me continue doing work. You can do that at the CalebRated channel. And I'm really looking forward to, you know, putting out some great, beautiful content there and just offering what I've always offered, you know, my unique perspective, my experience, you know, my connections, and whatever else I have to bring to the table. You know, that's what I'm going to be delivering on that channel. And yeah, I'm just trying to spread the word, right? Some people go on book tours, some people go on movie tours, press tours or whatever. I'm out here doing my version of the same thing for a YouTube channel. Seemed like a fun thing to do. Plus, you know, I get to hang with buddies that I you know, I don't get to hang with that often, short of you know, at the big media events that get held or the big trade shows that get held. So yeah.
And you know,
So
those go ahead.
No, it's you.
Those events are very like few and far between. Like we'll see each other for like 10 minutes and then it's just like, yeah, we're gone.
You go in
like,
and
damn,
it's like, hey, good to see you again. I'll give you a quick hug. Wham, bam, I'm out. You know, do your content and then you're gone. And then you don't, and then it's going to be another year until that thing happens. Yeah, I know that we always go there thinking, oh, we should hang out and let's try and go to the bar.
We tried. Grab
some drinks after the thing.
We tried.
Go to the hotel or whatever. But in reality, it's like herding cats, right? When your number one priority is to make content, you know, and do a certain job. Like it's funny how like all of a sudden you find yourself in the hotel room, like, man, I got to get this edit done. Like you don't have time to go get a freaking, you know, beer down the hallway. You're just stuck.
So I haven't met you in person, right? But I know Chana, you have. But I have a question for you. When you're traveling, you know, what's up with the stomach bug you always get? I heard.
Oh man, how does this even become a thing? So
the green in the background. I heard you turn green and everything. Is that true?
No, dude. The truth of the matter is that like I've had a couple of unfortunate incidences where, you know, the food, I would catch a foodborne illness from something that I ate. and it would throw me for a tailspin, and I'd be locked up in my room and not able to like join the group for the big group dinner or whatever that night. Unfortunately it's happened at some key critical times, and though like it's maybe only 4% of my experience in my life, it's happened frequently enough that like, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna hate on anybody who decides to make a joke about it, because it is kind of funny the way that turns out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you can thank FOMO for that. I was on the phone with him right before this, and I'm like, what's something funny I can bring up that he'll laugh about?
Joe.
FOMO's been there to witness a lot of it, right? There was a Sony event, the Sony event at which the Bravia 9 was revealed down in Culver City last year. Like, I ended up locked up in my room, just like ghastly, deathly sick, and I still don't know what it was. I still don't know what I ate, but yeah, I missed out on the freaking event, you know.
Well, hopefully that never happens ever again from now on, right?
Dude, I got it. You know what? Honestly, I'm just swearing off sushi. I'm swearing off sushi. And
no raw fish for Caleb.
Yeah, I think that's probably the safest thing I can do, honestly.
So you mentioned that with your new channel, I know you're kind of known for TVs, right? But I also know that you're part of a audio company. That's kind of your start, right? Is that Aperion? Is that right?
Yeah, Aperion Audio. Man, those were, talk about formative years, guys. I mean, I have some tie to consumer electronics going way, way, way back, right? Like when I was a kid, like straight out of high school, I was working at Radio Shack, right? For those who remember Radio Shack, I was the guy at the counter who was trying to add batteries to whatever purchase you were making at every single turn, and then after Radio Shack, I ended up with a company called 800.com. This is back when Amazon first got started, right? They were just breaking out of books, and they were starting to sell Blu-rays and DVDs and what have you. Netflix was just shipping DVDs back at the time, right? To date myself. But yeah, we were selling consumer electronics online, and I ended up in the product support department for this .com that was selling consumer electronics online, which was unheard of, right? And then the big .com crash happened, and I escaped. I worked on cruise ships for about 3.5 years, and then when I came back, bartended for a little while, and then landed with Aperion, right? And at Aperion, I got to help shape the sound of their speakers. I got to spend a lot of time on the phone helping people. Like, if you bought speakers from us at Aperion, like, I helped you set them up, right? I was walking you through the menu section of your Denon or your Onkyo or your Marantz receiver or whatever, and helping you calibrate the speaker output. I was like, put that mic away. Don't do the Odyssey thing. You got to remember, Odyssey was not what it is now. It was not back then, right? It usually did more harm than good. So we sent people a decibel meter with their speakers. It was part of the package, right?
Wow.
Yeah, cool. It was an analog dB meter, right? Radio Shack had the same thing, but it was one of those things where we branded it Aperion Audio and sent it for free.
Did it come with batteries?
In a speaker care kit. Yep. And we, a couple of batteries to put in it even. We didn't cheap out. And I would walk people through setting the distance parameters on their receiver,
and
as
it would have been great.
Now you've got actual tools to do that. You can use
Spatial audio calibration
toolkit.
Hey, by the way, just let me interject. The sale ends tonight. Our Easter sale ends tonight. So use the code Easter20 to get 20% off Spatial Toolkit. And I believe, Joe, you got a sale on Magic Beans right now too, right?
We have a Magic Bean sale. Just follow on our Instagram if you want to see all that stuff, because that's where we place everything.
I just had to do a shameless plug.
Of course.
We're talking about calibration.
Because those tools, those incredible tools that you guys have created, which I enjoy using, the Spatial Audio Calibration Toolkit is legit incredible. I mean, I've been very honest about that from the get-go, but like those great tools that you guys have created did not exist back in the day for me. You basically used the peak noise generator that was built into the receiver to, run through the individual channels, and then you basically dial them up so that you got, even output from them. But it was more than just that. It was like, how do you get HDMI pass-through to work? How do you get it to, do you set it to PCM or Bitstream? How to get the best sound from your Blu-ray player at the time. All of it. I learned all about that by walking people through the process on their gear over the phone. No video chat. It was all sight unseen. Like I had to mentally put myself in their space,
right?
Understand what they were dealing with and walk them through that. And that just even further cemented my understanding of like, consumer audio and video is really just a series of inputs and outputs, right? It's a signal path. It comes from somewhere and goes into something, and then it needs to go somewhere else and, comes out, goes in, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, so I was doing the Aperion Audio thing. And if you go look at Aperion Audio's YouTube channel, buried in the archives is an old video or two that I did on how to install banana plugs on your speaker wire.
I know here.
There's a banana plug tutorial that I did for Digital Trends, or I'm sorry, for Aperion Audio back then. But we actually did it at Digital Trends Video Studio. At the time, in the southern Portland area. So that was kind of my first foray into video. Actually, was with Aperion Audio. I kind of wanted to do it all the way back then.
Found it. Are you ready?
Let's see.
No. Are we actually going to put this on here? Oh dear, here we go.
Oh, who is that?
That's Caleb. That's Caleb. It says Caleb Denison.
He got the landing strip.
Check the flavor saver, baby. The soul patch, flavor savers, right there.
The landing strip's the other one.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the landing.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one. That's the wrong one, Joe. Wrong one.
Sorry, my fault. I'm thinking incorrect.
Look at that guy.
Look how serious I am about banana plugs right there. Come on now.
Is he flowing though? Is he flowing like he? Let's see if he's
No.
Look.
I would imagine. Look, it doesn't seem to stop talking.
No, he's still got the moves. Look at that.
The neck moves are still the same. I will admit.
2013.
Awesome. Yeah, man. So that's how it all got started. I think that was a long-winded way of getting around to the fact that my origins are in audio, right? Like I'm a professional trumpet player. I've spent a lot of time in recording studios. I know what stuff sounds like before it gets mixed and mastered. I know what it sounds like after it's been mixed and mastered. I know the difference between what the actual source sounds like and what it sounds like coming out through various different audio systems. I'm a huge vinyl nut, right? I'm a huge vintage audio nut. I love my old school Dynaco tube preamps and amplifiers and the solid state stuff as well. So I love the vintage stuff. I love the modern stuff too. I love the best available in streamers and modern amplification and the speakers that are being made today, all the ways they're different, and then really all the ways they're not that different than they've been for the last 30 years. I'm an audio guy. I absolutely love just listening, active listening. I'm big on that. I'm also like, I'm pretty passionate about like, Chana, you and I had a discussion about this a few months ago when Apple started incentivizing people to just create Atmos mixes, come hell or high water, and some of them were coming out really, really bad. Like my daughter's 16 now, but at age 15, my daughter was like, Dad, why does spatial audio sound so bad on Apple, right? And it's because she was listening to a Lauryn Hill recording. She was comparing the 2-channel version to the spatial version, and she couldn't understand why Lauren's voice was like, now it sounded like she was in a tin can and it was super reverby and she was nowhere and everywhere at the same time, right? And that's when I discovered that just like surround music mixes that we experienced from DVD audio and SACD multi-channel audio, we're experiencing good Atmos mixes and very poor Atmos mixes, right? There's not everything is great. Anyway, I love digging into that, right? I love digging into where music reproduction is happening these days. I'm passionate about it because I'm a musician myself, and it means something to me. And so one of the things that I hope to do is delve into audio a little bit more on the CalebRated channel. And as that develops, like I do see a time when I will just simply need to open a new channel, right? And have a channel that is more dedicated to the audio stuff, but I want to grow it organically, right? I want to feel out people's interest in that. I want to make sure that they're interested in hearing what I have to say about the audio stuff.
So hold on.
That's
I got a question. Your daughter is how old? And she's comparing the 2-channel versus the Spatial?
She was 15 when she first brought this up.
Oh wow. Okay, that's cool.
She's 16 now, and dude, no lie, like it was one of the proudest father moments I ever had.
right?
Because it was not prompted by anything. It was just her observation. What she wanted to do, what we did. I love telling this story, so excuse me, but like she came over, and I had the SVS Pinnacle set up in a two-channel orientation, right? And then I had I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I had a Sonos Dolby Atmos setup going on, right? Okay, so it's Sonos, but it was pretty good. Not dedicated speakers and amp or receiver driving it, but it still represented the Atmos mix fairly well, right? Certainly you could hear the difference. There was no doubt about that. And so we bounced back and forth between the 2-channel version of a track and the Atmos on Apple Music version of the same track. And what we found were some were good and some were downright horrible, right? And she was the one asking, like, let's compare this track, let's compare this track, let's compare this track. And she was excited to prove to me, right, that what she heard was valid. And I was like, well, you don't have to prove anything to me. Like I get it. I hear you. You're absolutely right. That's what's happening, which is what inspired me to pursue that story.
Like, well, when we're talking about Dolby Atmos mixing, I know a lot about it. And if anyone is watching, if you've seen my newest video, I have my brand new original Dolby Atmos test track available for download. And this thing happened just yesterday. I haven't told anybody about this, so I'm really excited to let everybody know that it's officially been submitted, and my track will be on Apple Music in like, I don't know, like a few weeks. So
congratulations, man. That's huge.
Hey, thanks, man. And this is not just your everyday average music track. This is a track that will test out your home theater. I'm talking bass sweeps down to 15 hertz, all packed in the LFE. I'm not holding back. There's shit flying around everywhere. It's fantastic. You could close your eyes and try to hone in on where the mallets are, or you can close your eyes and forget the mallets and just feel everything else moving around you. It's an amazing experience. I've been working on it for years, and I'm so excited that I don't have to like give it to people on a download USB thing or whatever. It can just be an Apple Music title. Actually, did you know? Because I just found this out yesterday when I set this up. There's actually 6 different streaming platforms that support Atmos.
Deezer.
Dude, I should have taken a screenshot. I have no idea. Actually, you know what? If I just
Amazon,
through, I might be able to. Amazon Play title. Here, let me go outlet details. Let's see if it'll pop it up without anything in here. No, I have to fill out all the things. I'll remember for next time. Yeah. Here it is. Do. Oh, wait,
Isn't it interesting that the fact that you have to like dig into the back end of that platform to learn the truth about who is actually out there supporting Atmos or spatial audio in some way just speaks to like how it's not being marketed well, in my opinion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Here we go. Here they are. Amazon and Ngami, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, Hungama, and Melon.
The heck? Haven't heard some of those. Okay.
Yeah. So that's
All right.
for anybody wanting to know, they can try one of those out.
Congrats, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm
Huge
excited.
Congratulations. There needs to be stuff out there like that, because I know people want to be able to hear what their system can do, right? They want to hear all the things flying around for a second, just like a feast for the ears, just to know what's possible, right? Because from an artistic side, not everybody is going to want to, I listened to a lecture that a guy gave at a Sony event, in which he said, like, the way that we do our mixes, it's just as much about what you don't toss in as it is about what you do, because you want to steer somebody's attention. Like, sometimes that if you don't want an audio based distraction, sometimes it doesn't help to put that in the Atmos channels or the surround right channel or whatever. But I respect that, but also sometimes I feel like that's a pretty lazy Atmos mix, fellas. Like, I feel like you could have done a lot better with just a little more time investment.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love that you have something out there that is just like straight up balls to the wall Atmos, treat for the ears. That's really exciting. And it's good to know that that's going to be available to people on freaking Apple Music, man. Congratulations. That's awesome.
I'm trying to look up some other folks who kind of left bigger companies, right? So the people who come to mind are like, do you know Kai Wong? He used to be part of a camera channel, Digital Rev. Right? Yeah. And he started his own thing, Kai, and he's doing well, So it's just kind of interesting to see that. This other girl, Becca, used to be part of The Verge, and she just left, did her own thing. She seems to be doing well, and they seem like more free or something. Like they can just kind of do.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. So, I know that at this point in the game, a lot of people are used to seeing creators who were always creators, right? Like they launched a channel themselves, they were independent from the get-go. And they've they built their brand on that platform. Like, that's what they did. There is this segment of people who started doing YouTube because, like, under a corporate umbrella, right? Because the corporation had an interest in having a social media presence and having a YouTube presence and stuff like that. Of course they do. It just makes good business sense. But yeah, it's not often that you hear about somebody who has always been part of a bigger media organization. I mean, remember, I actually started out as a writer, right? Like doing posts for the website, was a big.
I can totally see that, by the way. I can totally see that. I mean, it totally fits.
Yeah, journalism. Like, I still consider myself a journalist. I approach topics from a journalistic sense. Like, I don't like repeating unsubstantiated claims. I like to do research and make and fact check things and that kind of stuff. Like, I'll come out and do an opinion piece, but the opinion piece is usually pretty well researched, and I feel very solid on whatever foundation I'm trying to stand on. So yeah, it's something that I've noticed actually going to media events, right? Whether Sony or TCL or Hisense or whoever is hosting them, there was the journalist contingent, and then there was the influencer contingent, right? Influencers almost becoming kind of like a bad word among influencers, because like it's reductive in a lot of ways, but like, yeah, there's the people who came up under the more journalistic side of things, and then there's the people who came up as independent creators. That's how they've always been. And so yeah, it is interesting to see, like Brian Tong, great example, used to be with CNET, and then has gone on to do great things. And yeah, it can be a difficult transition, I think. But look, I'll be honest with you. One of the things, I feel like I've been fairly open about this. One of the things that bothers me is around who owns the content, right? And when you work for a media organization like that, you know, the content belongs to the media organization. That's the understanding. And so, you know, when I did a very personal, like emotional speaker review, and you can see that video at Digital Trends YouTube channel, the Golden Ear T66 review. It's very personal because it involves a story that you know, revolves around my late father and our relationship, and how audio you know, brought us together and was one of the few common interests that we shared as I grew up, and you know, earning his pride. And I mean, it's a full on, like, very deeply personal story. Like, it doesn't get any more raw and exposed than this, right? And I'll be very clear about this. I chose to give this content to Digital Trends. I made that decision, right? They own that piece of me. But then, you know, something about, like, after I did that and handed it over, I started thinking about, like, wow, I don't own that. That's not my video. That's my story. That's my life. That's my experience. All of that is mine, but I don't own that content. I don't own that video. That story now belongs to somebody else. And I had to really think about that, you know. And it doesn't matter if it was a Digital Trends or a CNET or a whatever, name a website, doesn't matter. If that organization owns that piece of me, like something that actually belongs to me and my life and my experience and whatnot. I didn't love it. Yeah. Gotta be honest with you, didn't love it. And I felt like, you know what? This stage in my career, I'd like to make stuff that's mine, you know? And I don't think that's such a big thing to ask, right? I think it's fair to say that, like, you know, any artist is gonna feel that way, right? Like, you know, there's always gonna be this tense relationship between a band and their label, right? Or at least historically there has been. Or an actor and the movie house, you know, writer or, you know, video person and media house. It's all the same, right? A lot of different ways to do this. But I felt like it was a good opportunity for me to go out there and own my content. And so when we talk about freedom, that's really what it's about for me, is being able to own the content, have the freedom to do it the way I want to do it. And when you know, because I think it is fair when we're making videos or writing articles or whatever, that it needs to suit the voice of the organization, right? Yeah. I just wanted that to be my voice. I wanted to suit my voice and not worry about whether my voice was suiting the bigger organization's voice. You know what I mean?
And I don't know that it's even the fault of the organization, because you see it. Another example is like Donut Media. Like, if you're into car stuff, like a lot of those guys, they kind of just left. And I think the underlying thing that I see is that it becomes like, who's really building who? Like, I'm not talking about your situation, more like Donut Media. They're kind of like, we were here at the beginning when it was nothing, and then we built it up. So was it Donut Media and them providing, you know, a platform, or was it us? And then at some point you're like, let's just see. Let's find out. You know, am I replaceable? Am I easily replaceable? Let's see. Let's find out.
Well, I think what people are learning, dude, this is a big moment that is happening in media, period. Right? Like, across all things. This isn't about me. This isn't about you. This is a really big thing. What and the PR agencies and the marketing professionals are starting to learn this. Those who didn't know it already, is that people are, especially in today's media climate, people are endearing themselves to personalities, right? They are not endearing themselves to companies, organizations, or even brands, unless that brand is based off of a personality.
Right.
So the news that you trust, the opinion that you trust, like, it's not always good. Let's be honest. You know, sometimes that personality is really, you know, caustic, acidic, toxic, whatever you want to call it. But like it or not, what's happening there is somebody is endearing themselves to the personality. And so, you know, things are constantly changing. Who made who? Like, I'm not interested in getting into that conversation. Like, what I care about is who loves Joe and Tell, who loves Shauna, who loves Technodad. You know what I mean? Like, there are people right now on the other side of our lenses who are watching us because they like us. They like you for who you are. They like me for who I am. And they identify with us. They see a little bit of themselves in us. And they just want to hear from us about what we think about something. That's where the trust exists. It's about a personality. Nobody else can own that. You can offer it to somebody. You can lease it out to them, but nobody else can own that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Somebody said Caleb truth. That's true. Yeah. For me, it's a little different. You know, my YouTube channel is not my main thing, really. You know, we have our own products. You know, all I care about is that I like me, my family likes me, and if anybody else likes me, then cool. I don't really care that much, honestly.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
you know, that's kind of how I roll, right? I couldn't work for a company because it'd be like I'd probably get fired pretty quickly.
You say that all the time, dude. He says that. Like, I don't like taking directions.
Well, and there's there's something to that too. You know, I mean, some people are just meant to be leaders, right? They're meant to be trailblazers. Other people function best when they're part of a team, right? They bring their unique strength to it, and nobody's stronger than them at that thing, but they're maybe not strong at these other different things. And so they flourish when they're part of a team. You know, there's no one right way to do anything. You know, but I feel you, Joe, when you're talking about like you'd probably get fired because you know it's not that you don't want to be a team player. It's that you have your own identity and your own way that you need to do things. You have a way where you flourish and you want to lean into that for your success.
It's not that I don't want to.
Sense.
You know, I can't. I have to do my own thing, right? And my wife says she likes me, and that's all I care about, right?
Yep.
She likes me, and so we're good. We're good to go. Anyway,
hey, just as a heads up, and so everybody who's watching right now, since we're live and everything, like I just want to I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but there is gonna come a point at which my camera is going to just straight up die, and so I'm going to just disappear. I don't know when that's going to happen. I'm going to guess it's going to be in about 7 minutes, but I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. The camera I'm using is not designed for a 50 to 55 minute long shot. It's just not. I had to use it though because it looks so good, but it really wasn't designed for what I'm using it for. And so I just want to make sure I'm like, thanking everybody now and saying my goodbyes now, because at some point I'm just gonna I'm gonna peace out, and it's not really gonna be my decision. And I don't want to disrupt your podcast too much. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you for doing that. Thank you for saying in advance in case you ghost out. You know, see, if you were with Digital Trends, it probably would provide you with an A7S III or something like that. It wouldn't go out. No, just kidding.
No comment.
Hold on. There is a question.
See, that's why I can't be hired. You see, I say stuff like that, and I know I'm not supposed to say it, but I don't care. So I apologize. That's just me.
Yeah. I see that question from Reverend Slim. So, can you still say numbers for Knit Nerds, or is that DTs now? No, I mean, that's a great point. Knit Nerds belongs to Digital Trends. You asked belongs to Digital Trends. The graphics that surround that stuff, that belongs
to Digital
all
that,
Trends.
huh?
Wow.
Yeah, no, I mean, I dude, respect for ownership where it exists. I will be very clear. Certain people don't own certain things about me, you know what I mean? But when it comes to that kind of stuff, like rightfully that companies. And so no, I don't bring any of that stuff with me. That belongs to Digital Trends, and they can do whatever they like with it. And I made peace with that. I'm good with that.
Amazing.
That's business, right? That's real business, and I want to make sure that I put respect on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think for Ty at Digital Rev, I think he used to say Bokalicious, and he can't. That's not something he can say anymore. Yeah,
Bokalicious.
Well, also right down to the way that I used to sign off videos, right? Doing this whole thing. If you watch my videos, the end of my videos, I'm doing a thing here. I'm not even going to say it now. That whole move, I feel like that belongs to Digital Trends. I mean, that's arguable. Like, I suppose I could argue that, but I'd have no interest in doing that. I got a lot of love there's a lot of really good folks at my former employer, And you know, I appreciate what they're doing. We're in a really tough industry right now. You know what I mean? And I wish them the absolute best. And part of that is just respecting where the line is drawn. Like, now, if we, you know, I don't want to get in an argument about where the line's drawn, you know, but I do feel like I want to stay on the right side of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to like test any limits or anything like that. No interest in doing anything like that at all.
It's always better to keep everything on the up and up, I think, when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah,
it's always
absolutely.
It makes
100%.
everybody look bad if you're not, right? Even if it is bad, like, it's just this never turns out well for either party. Nope. But if you want to subscribe, subscribe to CalebRated, right? And then you're gonna see his new outro. So if you want to see what the new outro is, I'm kind of curious what it's gonna be.
I got a sneak peek. I know what it is.
It's gonna be this. It's gonna be LL Cool J like this. How's it gonna go?
Not quite. It's more of a. Well, look, the you know, the CalebRated brand name is itself a play on words, right? In two different ways. And so I'm gonna play even further on the whole play on words a little bit with the outro that I've created for the new channel. It's you know, I'm still playing with it too. Like, nothing's set in stone.
Yeah.
If the people say
you're putting him on the spot here now,
love you, but that outro's stupid. Like, I'm not gonna continue going with that outro. Like, I'll go ahead and set it aside. People have spoken, and I'll keep on working on it. I'll come up with something else. But yeah, I do have some new videos coming out. So far, you know, just had the announcement video. That's the only thing that's on the channel right now. And I did ask for people to be patient as I spun up the content, you know, put some stuff in the can, as we say. But there is fresh content coming. And the sneak peek at the new outro is in a video that's coming soon. I've got some information about Roku's moves in the business coming in a video, and got a gigantic TV from TCL here that we're going to be unboxing and reviewing. So all that stuff is coming up. I also have a birthday coming up, a big milestone birthday. So I'm gonna peace out for like 4 days. I hope people are cool with me, like, taking a little time to enjoy my birthday for a second, but then I'm going to be right back at it again, making the content and getting it out.
So what is the play on words? Maybe I missed it. It kind of went.
So it just like CalebRated, like Caleb rated or Caleb rates these things, right? But also calibrated. You know, it's a little bit of a play on words there, right? So it's got kind of a double play happening.
Yeah, that was the I didn't think about the first one. I was just like, oh, it's like calibrated. Oh, that's clever.
Yeah,
and you're always bringing out the
Caleb's going to be out here rating some stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'll go ahead and tease it now. You know, if you're thinking about buying something, before you do, ask yourself, what would Caleb rate it? And if you don't know, all you got to do is come ask. That's what I'm here for. Dig it?
Yeah.
So anything else you want to talk about? Because I think you have probably like 2 minutes on that Sony camera. So before...
Yeah, you're probably right. People are asking when I'm going to actually test the Hisense UX116 with the RGB mini LED backlight. That's a very great question. I do not know. What I do know is I don't think they're going to be shipping that TV around. Hisense and TCL have been bold, and they have shipped some big old TVs. I've gotten a 110-incher in from Hisense, and I've got the 115 from TCL last year. I got both of those in here. They shipped them. Big, expensive thing to do. But I don't think Hisense is going to be shipping around those 116s, right? I think it's a little bit too primo, a little bit too costly just to move them, let alone what you lose on the product now that you can't sell it, right? The cost of production on those is probably pretty high. But I am hopeful that Hisense will fly me to a TV that I can test, and I can shoot some video of that. And so yeah, I know that TV is going to get tested. It's just like how I think this is one of those instances where instead of bringing the TV to Caleb, they're going to have to bring Caleb to the TV, and we'll get it done that way.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I think you have like a few seconds before it's gonna kick you out.
Why don't we leave when it's our decision? How about I leave on my terms?
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Like you just did.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been a blast, and I definitely want to come back and do it again sometime. And then at some point, I am going to be doing some live streaming on the CalebRated channel, and it'll be my honor to have you guys as guests on my channel. So folks can look forward to that happening. Once we get the main thing settled, we'll definitely be doing that. All right.
Sounds good.
Very good.
All right. Take care, fellas. Have a wonderful
later,
weekend, and we'll see you again next time.
See ya.
Peace.
All right. Later.
What's his outro gonna be?
He's all frozen. Once again, go to youtube.com/@CalebRated to subscribe up to Caleb's brand new YouTube channel. Man, I'm so stoked.
Yeah, that should be cool.
Yeah.
I hope he reviews more audio stuff. I like his audio reviews. You know, he reviewed some monolith stuff, and it's always like really good. He has some insight as far as like, you know, with the monolith speakers, he's talking about, oh, this one kind of has a resonance. I'm like, that's interesting. I didn't even talk about that, but I think that's kind of true that it does. So yeah, I'm interested to see what he does, what kind of reviews he does. You know, I'm sure he'll do a lot of TVs, but probably more stuff too.
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, like he said, it's 14 years doing one thing and then moving. That reminds me of me. I did that like a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, he sounds serious about what he's doing, you know? Sounds like a serious thing. So we'll see how that goes. It was cool to have him on.
Yeah, and his channel's at like 19,000 subscribers, been around for like a few days only. So
it's not bad.
That's pretty damn good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not bad. I'm sure it'll blow up.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll do well.
No doubt. In time, it'll be huge. I remember when Brian Tong set out from CNET, and man, his channel grew so fast. And like the first couple of years, I was just like, oh my goodness. Holy moly.
Yeah. Yeah. He's doing his thing now too.
Yeah.
So what's up with you? You got this new thing on Apple Music and all the streaming service. That's exciting.
Yes.
Right? Where'd you come back from? Where did you go? Oh, sorry. Continue. You were about to say something.
I messed up on the file that I delivered to everyone. I forgot the vocal stem.
Are you serious?
Get out of here. It's not like singing. It's like a and then it chops up.
No way.
I had to. So when you're submitting your Atmos track, you have to put the 2-channel stereo as well. You got to upload that if people don't have Atmos or whatever. It's also going to all the other distribution. It's also being, you know, everybody else. So I go and I listen to it. I'm like, hey, wait a second. Where's that voice? And I had to go searching. Finally found it, popped it in there, ran a few tests to make sure the audio's good. I had it coming out of a few different speakers and then changed a few things, messed around with it yesterday. So if you downloaded the tracks, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool. If you downloaded the track, you get it without it. And then there's a slightly different version on Apple Music. You know,
okay.
The only
little Easter egg.
Exactly. Little Easter egg. Again, with the Apple Music stuff, you don't get a visual, right? It's just gonna have the album art on the screen. So if you want to see where you want the object viewer, the tennis ball view, you still have to download that. I really wish that could change though. That would, I think, if you attach a video to it, it doesn't have to be like the Atmos viewer. Like, you know, if it's just a music video, why don't they do, you know? I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I'm pretty excited. And you know, I had no idea how to fill this stuff out, and I have done it before where, you know, have you filled out anything for the copyright office, man? It is.
Oh, it sounds horrible though.
I did not know what I was doing, but this time I have ChatGPT. I would just take a screenshot, like, help me fill this out. Okay, this is what you need to do. Leave this alone, leave that alone, write something here. And it has all these rules. Like, you can't put Atmos in the title. I'm like, wait, my song's called Echoes in Atmos. What do you like, you know? Oh yeah, it's over there. You can actually probably don't play it.
Muted. I got it muted.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, so the link is down here. Yeah. Some people are confused, like, as to how to get it. You go to the video, and then you click on the link in the description.
Yeah, download it, put it on a thumb drive, put it in whatever media player you have, and Everybody's loving it, man. Focal, they loved it. And we're talking about the big the big marketing people that are there all the time demoing. They loved it. They were just like, oh, this is amazing. Once we figure out how to get it so it's like a solid play, meaning, they had issues with the laptop and then the Apple TV and getting all that stuff to play properly on whatever Kodi, I don't know what they were using. Yeah, so it's just crazy, like, that they're using they're first of all, they're using my Aaron got to experience Atmos
Oh yeah,
time, right? And I'm going through the video, and he's like, "Oh, it's so cool." He's like, "Yeah, that's my boy's stuff." He was all proud. It was awesome, man. I loved it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you got that, and then did you go to any events, anything? No,
man.
Do anything?
I randomly got invited to Coachella on Sunday, and when my cousin says, "Hey, I got a ticket for you," it's not a regular ticket. And what I'm talking about is, he does industry stuff. So we're in the artist compound, Joe. We're hanging out with the Post Malones, with the whoever's there. That's me. I look like totally like a dad. Everybody else is in festival attire. I'm like, I just rolled in my
techno dad.
Yeah, I'm techno dad. So, it was awesome we were only there. We got there at like 8:30. So we saw a couple of stages. He took us around. Dude, do you know there's a Nobu there? They have a Nobu, bro. Like,
wow.
And just to get to that area, you have to be like, there's like the regular GA, then there's VIP, then there's another level of VIP, and then there's an artist, and then like another thing. We're at this other thing, and I'm just like, whoa, like, this is, if we needed to get to a stage, we could just go behind the whole thing and not have to worry about the crowds. Like, dude, crazy,
That's
dude.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
One of the, we saw the Post Malone show. I got to see a couple of other stages, and I haven't been to Coachella since 2007. So that's like 20 years. And like, I was lucky enough to see Daft Punk live, in 2006. Dude, I've seen everybody there. I saw Rage Against the Machine, the reunion. I saw Prince, Kraftwerk, Underworld, all kinds of people, dude. Bjork. I seen Bjork twice. Who goes sees Bjork, right? Like, dude, it's amazing. She's amazing. 9 Inch Nails, dude. Like, Atmosphere, the rap hip hop dude. Oh, dude, that was awesome show. Chemical Brothers, the Crystal Method. Who's the other electronic from the UK? Oh, the Prodigy, dude. Amazing, dude. The electronic music was fantastic, dude. I saw Blue Man Group. Like, amazing. I used to go to Coachella 2002 to 2007. I went religiously, back when it wasn't like nothing. It was amazing. So just to be there again, I'm like, man, I'm so glad I don't come to this thing, because there's just so many people, and I'm just so like, oh man, I couldn't handle like 3 days of this. Let alone
you're on the other side of the stage, which is kind of cool. One step closer to what we were talking about, right?
That's
Where
right.
you're the DJ now. You're one step closer. Every time it's one step closer. One step closer.
So speaking of which, like, we go to this super exclusive after party, which was at somebody's house. Dude, it was a huge compound, bro. Like, I couldn't believe it. Everything's free drinks, free food. We have burgers and all this. And I met this guy, and I've seen this guy DJ at EDC plenty of times. This guy's name is Wax Motif. And I was just like, I walk up there, I'm like, yo, what's up, Waxy? He's like, hey, what up? I'm like, yo, I'm Techno Dad. He's like, Techno Dad, yeah. Dude, it was hilarious. But and it was cool to talk to him and be like, yo, man, dude, I loved your set at EDC a few years back, Cosmic Meadow stage. And like, I was waiting for your recording of the set to be on YouTube, and you had posted on Threads that it's taken a little bit longer. And I responded, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm so looking forward to it, blah, blah, blah. And you responded back like, yeah, we're having issues with copyright and da. And I'm like, dude, that was so amazing. You know, I felt like, I know when my viewers like comment and I respond back to them, they're like, oh my God, thank you for responding. I was that. You know,
that was cool.
So I got to tell him that. And then I'm in the bathroom and I hear this Australian voice and he's like, you know, saying to the guy that's trying to get into the sit down stall, like, oh, it's nasty in there, you know, and the guy's like, I don't care. Right. And I'm like, yeah, it's nasty. It's totally not because of you, right, buddy? And he's like, no, wasn't me. So it turns out to be this guy, Dom Dalla. And
check this out.
Yeah, hold on.
This is a crazy story.
Yeah. So that guy, this guy here,
you're just kind of like semi-insulting about blowing up the bathroom.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, okay. It was totally you, bro. And he's like, nah, it wasn't me. And then I look over and I'm like, hey, I know you. You're Dom Dalla. And he's like, yeah, sometimes. I was like, oh, I did a Dolby Atmos mix of your track, your remix, and I'm gonna try. I'll pull that up so everybody knows which one that is. Boom. If you guys remember this one, this is him. This is his remix here, Dom Dalla. I did an Atmos mix of his remix of that Gorillaz song, and I'm talking to him about it. I'm like, dude, everybody loves it. It was amazing. And I was like, yeah, dude, I love the track, you know, hand in hand, Atmos and house music. They're made for each other. And he's like, are you from Dolby? I'm like, no, I'm independent. I made the world's first Dolby Atmos calibration disc with my buddy. And I know a whole lot about Dolby Atmos and how it works. So he's all, yeah, you know, I actually need to mix in Atmos or get my songs mixed in Atmos. And he's like, but I don't know anybody. I'm like, I'm your guy. Let me wash my hands. Let's talk outside. So we talk outside the bathroom and I get his contact information. So one step closer. I'm one step closer to getting on that stage. I'm doing Atmos mixes for these EDM artists. They don't know. They don't really know like who to ask. So I'm like, I'm your guy.
And you guys are doing the same hand movement here. Look at him on that thumbnail, right?
Yeah.
And then watch you right here. Hey. Hey.
I love it.
Yeah, man. Well, congrats, dude. That sounds super cool. How was the sound system over there? Did you see what kind of speakers they were using, or were you just too focused on whatever you're doing?
Dude, it was loud. Like and in those certain areas where we have access to go see the stage, it's close. It's close. So I had to kind of like, I wanted to kind of be like my cousin and brother were like maneuvering through to get to the center. I'm like, oh, you know, yeah. I forgot to bring my earplugs, which are right there. I'm looking at them right now. Overall, like it couldn't have worked out better. You know, I had no idea I was going to be there until like he hit me up at like 3 p.m. It's like, we're going to leave at 6. I'm like, okay, yes, let's go. And that was it. Yeah. I think I got to sleep at like 5 a.m. I went back home, showered, went to sleep.
I also want to say that the people watching have a part in that too. It's not just us doing stuff. It's the fact that you're willing to watch Chana's stuff and that you're enjoying it and downloading it. Like, it's all part of the process, right? You can't do this in a vacuum, right? If it was just Chana making a video, nobody watches it, then it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, but the fact that you get feedback and people are like, I love this. This is awesome. This is great. Makes you want to do it again. It's you guys also, right? The folks who are
you guys are the reason I keep making these things. The newest track has over 2,000 downloads. It's been live for a few days.
Wow.
Yeah, Saturday. I think I put it out. And the comments are great. The comments are amazing. Thank you for providing this absolutely awesome test track. Right? Just check this out on my system. Excellent, bro. It's amazing here. Let me pop this stuff up on the screen because like it's amazing to see like all this stuff. Love it. Thanks, Techno Dad. Fantastic checking tool. You know, some people are having issues playing it, you know. But again, this is why I wanted to make something that was original so I could put on Apple Music or Tidal or whatever, and everybody can experience it.
Make it easy, right?
Yeah. And at the same time, like, say again?
To make it easy as possible, right?
Yeah.
For them to play it. And you know what I find interesting is, you know, we talk about this toolkit, and a lot of folks have problems where they're like, I'm not hearing the sound coming out of the speaker, and they think it's our disc sometimes. I'm like, trust me, this works. It's your system. And a lot of times, like, oh, I had this one setting that wasn't giving me Atmos. And so, you know, this, I know it's a plug, shameless plug, but this also helps you do what you do, right? Because let's be honest, this YouTube stuff is not a money maker. I don't know how other people do it, but if it weren't for folks supporting with this, I think it would be tough to kind of be more creative like you're able to do, right?
Yeah.
Where you might make a video and like, I don't care how many views it gets. That's not the point. The point is whoever's interested, they'll be able to download it for free, your original content for free, and be able to play it. But it's also because a lot of people who are going to download that might purchase the toolkit, which also, you know, this really is the one that helps. Right?
Yeah. I mean, my patrons help, right? And they get to hear all my, hey, I'm testing this out. What do you guys think? Because they heard one of my tests of this track in January. So they got it in January. And then once I got it like all buttoned up, they got the first hit like last month, April, March. Yeah. And then, oh, thank you. What is this, Remy?
Oh, wow. Thank you for the
Remy
super chat. The $10 super chat. Thank you. What is the question here?
SBS Pinnacle speakers. Could they be placed 1 inch near wall, or would they be too boomy? Another speaker recommendation in the same price. Which SBS Pinnacles are you talking about? That's
I would have to say that pretty much any speaker placed an inch away from the wall is going to have boundary gain, right? Meaning, you know, the like bass isn't only going forward, it goes around, right? Because the wavelengths are so long, it doesn't care that there's a speaker box in the way. It's gonna just go wrap right around it and hit the back wall and then amplify the sound, right? Sometimes it cancels too, so you have to be careful of that. But as far as boomy, right? Boomy is a kind of a subjective term. What you can say is you're definitely going to get more bass, right? The closer you have a speaker to the boundary, the more you're going to amplify those bass frequencies. So whether that sounds boomy or not,
that's subjective,
it's tough to tell, right? The one thing is that you can always usually EQ that out, right? If you have too much bass, you can always reduce the bass. The issue is sometimes when you get a cancellation, you don't have bass because the sound waves are canceling each other. You can't use EQ to boost the bass, right? So you can always cut the bass, and that might help with any sort of boominess if you have to keep it that close. Sometimes you do, right? You know, some people say, oh, 2-3 feet away, and it's like, I can't do that. You know, the room is too small, or the speaker's going to be in the way. And so, you know, in a real world situation, you can't always do the ideal thing. Another thing to consider, aside from boominess, though, is sometimes it affects imaging too. You know, when it's too close, you may not get some of the soundstage depth that some people talk about. You know, getting them out further tends to help with that. Some of it has to do with the fact that the bass is not overly boomy, so they might be related in some way. But yeah, he's asking for other speaker recommendations in the same price range. If you're talking about a speaker not being boomy, if you put it an inch away, I don't know that there are really any, unless you get like an in-wall speaker, then it's less than an inch away, right?
I think if you have something where the port is either downward firing or front firing, it might be less. You're still going to get the boundary gain, but it's better than a whole bunch of air like flying like right at the like with an inch,
That's exactly what it is. It's the port is acting as a driver, right?
Yeah.
So when it's a rear ported, that means that driver is like an inch away from the wall, right? So when you say that the speaker is an inch away, yet what you have to consider is the drivers are still the length of the box away. So that might be a foot, right? A foot away. So actually the drivers are a foot away from the back wall. But that port, if it's rear ported, that port is an inch away. So that's something to consider. As far as the other recommendations, I think I would have to know what you're looking for that maybe the SVS Pinnacle is not doing for you. I think we answered the question as to like what happens as to the boominess. I don't think that's an SVS Pinnacle exclusive thing. Right? If you're talking about maybe a speaker with better directivity, a speaker that's more linear without any EQ, we can talk about that. What do you have to say about this?
I mean, if we're talking the SVS Prime Pinnacle, I love that speaker. I thought that was a great speaker. And that was like, what, $800, $900 each? So if you're talking about their new Pinnacle series, $900 each. I'll show you which ones. I got them on screen. When I reviewed these, I was blown away. They are very small. They're under 4 feet tall. Yeah, and they do a great job, right? Little package, a lot of sound. Triple 6.5s, going down to 29. I like those. I'm not sure which Pinnacle you're talking about, but I do like the Pinnacle, the Prime Pinnacle. But again, backward firing port, and like what Slim is saying, the port firing right at the wall can make the drywall act like a passive radiator.
Yeah, they have a new Ultra Evolution Pinnacle.
Yes. Yeah. So they have 3, right? 3,000 pair, 4,000 pair, 5,000 pair. I do believe I interviewed him when it came out. So it's we would need to know. Rami. Not sure. What's up, Don? Don Henley, Horizon Home Theater in the house, ladies and gentlemen. The Don Dada.
I'm looking at the Ultra Evolution Pinnacle Tower. The one thing I can say about a lot of the SVS stuff, and I've told them before too, is the tweeter is mounted on the baffle, right? There's no waveguide to it. So what tends to happen is that it gets really wide, right? At the crossover point. So like the mid-range.
When you mean wide, what do you mean?
Let's see if I just go to Aaron's site, it's easier to show you. Aaron, audio corner, Ultra Evolution Pinnacle. All right, here. Let's see if we can take a look at that. This one. So this is the Evolution Pinnacle Tower, and you can see it here in the directivity, right? So this goes up, and then at the crossover point, it gets it gets wider, right? The dispersion gets wider. It's easier to see it here, right? So boom, it gets narrow, and then the tweeter being mounted on the baffle gets wide. You can also see it here on this globe plot around, under 2 kilohertz, narrow, then it gets wide, right? So what that ends up sounding like is, if you look at the in-room response, this is how it's probably going to sound in most rooms, right? So, it's kind of like downward sloping, and then right around the crossover region, it gets bright. And this is kind of a thing with other SVS speakers also. I don't think it's exclusive to this. If I type in
and SVS, you attribute that to not having the waveguide and having the tweeter like straight up on the baffle?
Yeah, like here's an old Prime bookshelf, right? Let's see. Old Prime bookshelf. What happens here? See, it's kind of the same thing, right? Narrow, then it gets wide.
I asked Gary if they'd ever make a speaker with a waveguide.
And
he's like, well, and so he gave me some reasons. And then Nick was like, why would we want to do that? I'm like, well, Joe and Aaron are always talking about how like it measures a lot better, you know, when you have a waveguide instead of just the speaker or the tweeter on the baffle. So, and then, you know, Gary was talking about, well, this, you know, I not say maybe they have something in the works. I don't know.
Man,
you know,
if they ever come up with a speaker that's either coaxial, where the woofer itself is the waveguide,
yeah,
I like those. I love that design. I think that would be awesome. If they even just do a waveguide design, that's also, I think that's a big improvement. That would be the level where I think that they're really taking their speakers to another level, because everything else about the speaker is pretty awesome, right? The fit and finish, they have no problem making awesome woofers. You know, it's just that tweeter. I wish they would put in some kind of waveguide. Yeah, because what ends up happening is, for me, SVS speakers tend to sound a little bit brighter, right? When I use them, I feel like, ugh. And some people will say, oh, it's because it's an what kind of tweeter they use, like aluminum or titanium something.
Yeah, and like,
I forget.
Dude, you like to listen to music loud too, man. You like to listen to your shit loud. Like,
you think so?
I think so. Like, every time I'm over there, like, here, check this out. I'm like, it's loud. You're like, what's the matter? I'm like, it's loud.
Yeah, no, you know, truthfully, I don't listen that loud. It's because when you're demoing for somebody, unless you want
to put it up to 11.
I guess he's not even reacting right now. This guy's give me. And then you're like, that's what I want to see. And then I'll turn it back down a little bit, you know. Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. Well, you know, I've been hanging out with Rock, and I went to his studio again, and he was working on some tracks, and I was just like, dude, you listen to this stuff loud, bro. He's like, oh yeah, it's gotta be loud. Yeah. I'm like, I can't do that, man. Dude, he's doing a lot of stuff. He's redoing some vinyl. He does like vinyl mastering and all this kind of stuff. He's doing like a Common. He's like Common's like re-releasing. I mean, no, he's not doing that. You didn't hear that.
No. Fun. Rewind. Thanks again for the super chat, Rami.
Yes, thank you, Rami, for the super chat.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we should get up out of here.
Okay, cool.
Right? Any other questions? I don't think so. But yeah. We should roll out. I'm gonna hang out with the guys in the after show.
Yeah, I need to get some food, so I'll cook up some food and hit up the after show. If you guys have no idea what we're talking about and you want to be part of the crew, go to crew.dailyhifi.com and get access to the after show. And
I think that's the only promo we actually need right there. The other one's the merch and the audio only version. I haven't really been keeping up on that, so that's
somebody asked me what happened to the podcast, and I took a screenshot to show you, and he's like, it hasn't been uploaded for like a year or something. I'm like, that part of it. I was like, oh,
yeah, can't they just take it from the YouTube video? What you got to do extra work,
man.
Anyway,
but, yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.
See ya.